What's up, quality people? We are back. I got two of my players here. I'm tuning in from out of town. We got Kenya in the producers bay back in Georgia. I am in Missouri, but I also got two great players in the Coastal Stars organization. We got Jackson Sayer in the middle. We got Hunter Holder all the way on the opposite side of me. Before we get started, I need you to like for the algorithm, because that's what we do. We're pushing it out to as many people as possible. We're gonna go ahead and put this in the chat, but before we get to that, Jackson, Hunter, how you guys doing?
Good.
Good, I'm good. Yeah, Coach Robert, how are you,
Awesome.
man?
I'm doing good. Really blessed to be on the road, but also to be able to come and participate in a show like this as well. So ready to get to it. Ready to talk about some baseball. We're going to talk about the tournament recap. We're going to talk about some of your goals and also like the Savage mentality before we flip the script and y'all get to ask me some questions. So let's talk about, well, actually, before we do that, let's introduce yourself. So Hunter, all the way to across from me, why don't you introduce yourself, let the people know who you are, and a little bit about yourself.
I am Hunter Holder. I am from Eatonton, Georgia. I am currently the graduating class of 2024. Play shortstop, second base, and I'm a right-handed pitcher for the Coastal Stars. Absolute great association, great team. Love the guys. Just there's not much more to say about them. Just a great environment to be in all around. Happy to be joined by Coach Crawford today.
Awesome. What about you, Jackson?
Yeah, I'm Jackson Sayer, class of 24, same as Hunter. We're actually on the same team with Coastal and all, and like he said, I mean it's a great program and all, and I mean I'm having fun and enjoying playing, and we're also getting experience, and I mean I'm playing really everywhere, utility really, but it's really just about experience and getting yourself out there, and I think Coastal's doing a great job of that.
Awesome, guys. So let's go ahead and get into our first segment here. We're going to talk about the tournament. We had a tournament this past weekend. I thought my team played pretty well. We didn't get a win, but two of the teams we played in our pool were the two teams that met in the championship, and those are the games we actually played really well. We only lost to one team 8-5. Really had them on the ropes, but weren't able to pull it out. And then the team that won it, we were tied, or no, it was only 1-0 until like the fifth inning, and then they scored some runs. We had some opportunities, left some guys on, but y'all were able to get a win. So we didn't have the best weekend as far as like win percentage. We were 0-3, but you guys, y'all got a win. You actually tied one and you lost one. So let's talk about what was it like this weekend, first weekend of the fall. So talk to us about that.
Josh, you want to go first, or you want me to?
You got it.
First game of the weekend, we played a really, I would say, a solid team. They really they had good defense, good bats, good nice lefty on the mound. He was throwing consistently, pounding the strike zone all game. He actually ended up throwing the whole entire game to the bottom of the seventh inning, and they finally took him out. But yeah, they were a really good team. They actually had two old Coastal Stars players that played with us through the summertime on their team, and we actually had to change some stuff up. We had to change up some signs, get different things going, because these two kids, they contributed it, and they knew what we had going on, what we had planned. They knew our game plan going into the game and whatnot. But all around, we played a really solid baseball game. Our main guy, Trey Power, was on the mound. He threw an absolute diamond for us. Jack came in and pitched for us. Jack did amazing. We really had good defense all around the whole game. We kind of struggled early on, get the bats hot, but once they finally came around, we put a little pressure on the opposing team, and we ended up coming out and tying right there. But it was a battle. was really a battle that game. In my honest opinion, I don't think that team really should have competed with us like that. I know we have a lot of guys that are absolute dogs, and I know that we could have absolutely put a hurt on them. But baseball is that, and you don't always play your best or your best of your ability, and baseball's not always on your side. But all in all, it was a great game. It was just a battle, man, and just got to come back stronger.
I
Yeah, I
got
think
you.
we.
So
I
let's
think
talk
we handled.
about. Hold on before
Go ahead.
you go, Jackson. To talk about when somebody knows you, like talk about how the game plan has to change, right? Because I'm sure in high school you play teams every week or every year rather, where y'all are close rivals, probably in town, and maybe some guys that you grew up playing against locally. So talk about how you have to go into a game where the other team kind of understands, what you're about, kind of your game plan, and the type of, ball that you play.
Everybody's got to face adversity. I mean, that's just part of life. I mean, stuff's gonna happen, but it's how you handle it. I mean, like Connor said, they had two kids that played on Coastal, and uh, that was the adversity we had that game, and we had to I mean change some signs and stuff like that. But if you're not able to handle little things like that, you're not gonna win big ball games anyways. Um, and I mean, like Hunter said, it was a close game and all like that, and we were actually losing by two in the bottom of the seventh inning, and I came up to the plate and I hit a single, and I think it might have been Christian Wahiwa. He's a great player as well. He was he got a hit after me, and I stole third. He stole second, and then T Payne is what we call him, Tyler Payne. He came up hit a double to tie the ball game, but that game shouldn't have been
Big
nearly what it
barrel.
was. Big barrel, but I mean that just goes to show you. I mean, you can. I mean, if you put your mind to it, you can do it. And bottom line is, I mean, you gotta compete, and if you don't, you're gonna get beat. And I felt we competed well that game, but that team wasn't better than us.
Hmm. So yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said that you got to face adversity, but it's about how you overcome that adversity is what really matters, right? And so after that game, you tied, right? Then what happened in the next game?
Um, so the next game that was this morning. I actually I threw that next morning. You know, a lot of new guys, a lot of guys that you're in new new experiences with. I guess you could say new friendships. A lot of new people just coming along to the team, adding on, doing great things. And that morning we came out and we kind of struggled right there in the first two or three innings. We really had some defensive struggles going on. We were kind of struggling to find the bats. It was a really tough game. But after that third inning, we came back out on the field on defense, reassured ourselves, cleared our plate, cleared our mind, and we kind of went and played baseball how baseball is supposed to be played within the next three innings. And we really didn't have that many errors. We actually I don't think we had one error after the third inning, and we got to I think it was the fourth inning. We got to the fourth inning, and one of our big guys, Nance, he absolutely hammered a ball to the left field and went over the wall. That was just a big momentum booster for us right there. I came back out on the mound. We shut it down after that. We were just really struggling to find the sticks that next game, and we kind of we put ourselves in a bigger hole than we should have been in with the trouble we were having the first two innings, and there was there was really no fighting back after that point. But we never gave up. We had the momentum on our side after the third inning, and that really pushed us. And we put up a couple runs, but it just wasn't enough to secure the deal and bring us back.
So that's actually a good point because it's like you face adversity in the first game, you or tied a game, not lost. You tied a game that you probably should have won. Second game, still not playing as well as you're capable of, but you get some momentum. So you're kind of sticking with the process. And then heading into the third game, you took that momentum that you ended the loss with, and you're able to convert it to a win, which is the mark of a good team because now sports is all about momentum. You'll hear me say that. You probably heard Coach Justin say that at some point as well. It's all about like momentum, and whoever has the momentum is got the edge in the game. And for you to be able to come back, you gotta change the momentum. That's why in basketball is a really good example because you'll see one team go on a big run, and then another team's able to come back because that just shows you kind of how momentum swings and works. Now in baseball, it could be a little bit different because you can have a team have a big inning, but momentum can also be a pitcher shutting you down as well. And so I'm saying all that to get to the point of like y'all were able to use that momentum to snowball into a win. And now we got another tournament back at the same ballpark with the same team coming up this coming up weekend. So what are y'all looking forward to most going into this weekend?
I'm really looking forward into man. I don't know, something about it getting out at the ball field, and you once you step on the other side of the white lines, it's not just games, or it's not fun and game talk anymore. I mean, you're competing, and I've got my brothers on the side of the line, they got theirs, and that's totally fine. I'm just looking forward to competing, man, and being around my teammates and just having fun. But I feel like this tournament we can really compete with some of the teams, and like you say, we play the teams that we played before, and I think that gives us a little bit of momentum, like you were just talking about, because I mean, you know how hard it is to, come back after a loss with the same. But I've been out there with my team and my coaches and coming out there and competing.
Yeah, I know. To add on to what Jack said, just being in the atmosphere of all the great guys that are around you, all the great guys that are competing, working very very hard for another chance to play at the next level. It just shows once you step across them white lines, it really just shows who really wants to be out there, who really wants to compete, who really wants to go head to head against the other guy and show who's the better guy. And you always don't come out on top. You always don't have your wins. You always have losses. That's just how baseball goes. But stepping into this next tournament, we're coming up. We're coming up with a big win. We had the first tournament. We let it go by us. We bonded with some of the new guys, some of the guys we've never played before, some of the guys we were just now meeting at this point in time. Where we were kind of finding the atmosphere at that point in time, kind of figuring out where everybody sits, where everybody plays, how everybody plays. Everybody plays a different ball game, and I think we're going to come out very very hot and very explosive within the next tournament, and really put forth the effort and show that we deserve to be there. Show that we deserve that we're one of the big teams that sits within the wins.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I definitely think the talent level that we have across the board is just as good as anybody else out there. I think a lot of times, especially in baseball, what separates people who win and lose at this level is just either team chemistry or you just make too many mental errors. And so when you eliminate those mental errors and then you're able to get more reps with guys like you two have been playing together for a little while in the organization now. When you're able to get those reps with guys that have been around for a while, you just have more confidence, and confidence is a really big factor in anything that you do in sports. And we'll talk about that in our Savage Mentality segment. But just hit on how important is confidence when playing the game of baseball. We'll start with Hunter.
Confidence is like one of the main absolute main keys coming into a baseball field. You gotta step out there knowing that you're going against a lot of other guys who are dying to win this baseball game. And if you don't step out there with the confidence you have walking in to the park as you have walking out on that baseball field, then you're not ready to be there at that point. You have to mentally prepare yourself for what's about to happen and what's about to go down. You make mistakes in baseball. You make errors. You don't have your best days. Everybody has everybody has the bad days. But having confidence and picking yourself back up after having a bad mistake or something like that happen to you, it's a huge factor in baseball. And not only that, but after you come off a huge loss or whatnot, and you have a game right back after that, it's it's really key to just contemplate in your head that, like, hey, we're the bigger team, we're the bigger guys. We know what we can do when we play our own game of baseball, and you just have to walk out there with that mindset, knowing that you're the better team, that you're just better. You have to work. You put in the work to be better. You have the confidence to go out there and play to your full potential.
Absolutely. I definitely agree. Do you have anything to add there, Jackson?
Yeah, it's a lot of what Hunter said, but confidence is a big thing for me. If I'm playing short and Hunter's playing second, and he lets the ground ball go through his legs, and I go over and I pick up my teammate, I'm like, hey man, just get the next one, or just flush it, or just say some encouraging words. That's big on confidence too, because he has confidence that you'll be there for him, and that's a good feeling. And if you make an error, you got to know your teammates have your back and stuff like that. But if you don't have confidence in your teammates, they're not gonna have confidence in you. So just all around, you gotta have confidence for your team and confidence in your play and your abilities. Because you're going to play with what you brought to the ballpark. You got to play with what you got. So
No, I like that. I like how you said you got to play with or you're going to play with what you brought to the ballpark. It's something that Ked and I kind of hinted at last week in our podcast, is how important preparation is. Because if you haven't put in the work to, prepare properly for the game, then you can't have confidence, right? Because then it's almost like going into a test and you didn't study. You're kind of like, oh, I guess I'm just gonna guess on all these answers, or kind of, just, whatever my way through this. But when you have confidence, it's because you've prepared properly, and now you can go out and just play your game and execute your game plan. And we're going to talk about our goals in just a second, or your goals rather, in just a second. But I think we got some comments. So Kenya, go ahead and put up some comments. We'll acknowledge some people. I saw that she put up a comment from TJ3 History saying hi to Hunter and hi to Jackson as well. So that's Trent. He's actually
So
sitting over here to my
that's
right
Grant.
here. We're on a little business trip now. And let's see, we got anybody else? That is Kenya's mom, my girlfriend's mom, saying greetings all. Let's get quality going. Yes, I like that. I like that. Who else do we have? We have Cade Mormon in the house. Upper class white, got
Big
some
Simo.
dogs. Believe that. I like that. I like that.
Yes,
Y'all do
sir.
have
Yes,
some
Simo's
sir.
a
dogs.
Simo's a dog over there at first base. Love you, Simo.
Yeah, he had a good outing, and I think a clutch hit in that win that y'all had. Uh,
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Colin, I'm not sure. Is that Wise? I don't know how to say that. Quality. I like that. I like that. Who else do we have? All right, I think that is it. So let's get into our second topic, goals. So, in order to be successful in anything, you got to have goals. You got to be working towards something. And so, I just want to kind of pick your two brains. What are some goals that you guys have as far as? Well, let's start. Let's start off with baseball first. Let's stay on that topic. So, baseball. What are some goals? Let's start with Jackson on this one.
Baseball, some of my goals are, just get the most of while I'm playing. I've heard so many guys talk about, like, if I could just go back and play one more game and if I could just soak up one more inning, I mean, just take the most of it. Get the most of it out as I can. And but I mean, obviously, I want to play at the next level, and I feel like I've put in enough work for that, and I'm not going to stop by any means. But I mean, I my one of my main goals is just to make it to the next level and show what I can do. And I mean, that'd be a big accomplishment. And just and another one of my goals is this game's gonna make me a better person. Just keep at it. Don't quit what you started. And I mean, yeah, I just make it to the next level. I mean, I guess that's a big goal.
All right, what about you, Hunter?
Yeah, kind of adding on to what Jack said, one of the main goals I have set for myself is to make it to the next level, But you gotta continue to put in the work, put in the effort, put in the long, hard days and hours and time that everybody's downing upon you. Like a lot of the times, the time that you're going out by yourself doing the things you need to do on your own time that people don't see. And one of my main goals is just going out on the field, leaving everything I have on the field, and building lifelong friendships. I love being out on the field with my guys. Love being out and around them, being in the atmosphere. It's always great to meet new people. That's why I love bouncing around, meeting new people, playing at new fields, playing at new stadiums, whatnot, doing different things. It's all about just having connections around and making some lifelong friends, and that's a huge goal for me, just to continue on the relationships with the people that I've played the game, like actually that I've shared the love of the game for, some of the closest people that I'll ever get to be around, and they go through it just as much as I do, and they put in all the work and whatnot, and that's one of the main goals, just going around and having good relationships with everybody, making it to the next level, showcasing your skills.
Yeah, I will tell you that the camaraderie that you have and the friendships that you garner over your time playing baseball is a special bond. Like I was just at a wedding. I've gone to a couple of my weddings from just past teammates, and every time I go, it's just great to see everybody. It's like we're back in college and we're just reliving, all the early mornings that we had to get up, all the hard battles that we fought, just everything that we go through, because especially when you get to college, those guys that you play with, you are literally, your whole life is together, right? It's almost like being in the military, because everything that you do is very structured. You have a time and a place to be. You're going to be in class with some of these guys, along with being in weights in the morning, along with going to early work, along with rehab and physical therapy and going to the trainers, not to mention practicing games. And so like everything is with these guys, and so you become really close with them. And after it's said and done, it's that bond and that camaraderie that you actually miss more than the game of baseball. Of course, we love baseball, it's our favorite sport and we love to play it, but at the end of the day, it's a game. But what we can't replace is the relationships that we built, and hopefully those carry on for a lifetime, because like you said, been a lifelong friends. I'm actually about to go to a wedding in about a month with a guy I grew up playing baseball with. I haven't necessarily talked to him much since college, right? But since we built such a strong bond and friendship just growing up playing baseball together, like I'm invited to his wedding and he'll be invited to mine when I get married as well. And so that's something that you should always cherish and you should always hold on to. At the end of the day, baseball is going to be over, but those friendships, those are what can last a lifetime. So I like that. Let's shift gears a little bit. Instead of talking about baseball, let's talk about some of your career goals. Of course, baseball is not forever. So, what are some things that interest you, maybe professionally, or something that you can see yourself doing, at least right now? It could change, of course, because y'all are young and really still getting to know yourselves and knowing like what you don't like. But where are you now as far as like what could you see yourself doing? I know Hunter had mentioned something to me about maybe media. So why don't you start, Hunter?
Yeah. When it's all said and done, if baseball ever doesn't work out the correct way it should, or just mistakes happen, or injuries or whatnot, just all the adversity. If there's ever anything in the way, my plan is to go off to college, get my degree in business and entrepreneurship. It's really one of my main things. That's what I want to major in college, and I for my minor, I want to do sports broadcasting and make it on the air, and just connect with all the people on the live sports games, stay of uh, baseball world, football world. It doesn't matter as long as it involves the game. I'm gonna love always being around side. You and that's just one of the main goals. It's my dream that
I think we lost him. So Jackson, why don't you go ahead and answer that while we're getting Hunter back?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, if baseball don't work out and stuff like that, I mean, I've I've grown up in a small town and stuff like that, and been I've been raised on some farms and stuff like that. But I'd really like to major in agribusiness, and I can go right here next door in Tifton, and that's an ABAC. And my grandpa actually, he's the HR director there, and I've grown up around ABAC, and I know the ins and outs of it. But yeah, I'd love to major in agribusiness and something in the agriculture and be outside and stuff like that. But yeah, I'd love to do agribusiness.
Let's talk about agribusiness really quick because a lot of people they think of business and they think of agriculture, but they never really put the two together, right? And it's a very big industry and can be very lucrative as well because we have a lot of farmers in Georgia, especially South Georgia. When people think of business, they normally think of Atlanta, but how important is agribusiness, especially down where you live?
I mean, without without some farmers, you wouldn't be able to eat. You wouldn't be able to, you wouldn't be able to have certain things. And I mean, agribusiness, it can be, it can mean the world down here. And I mean, you can decide to do many things with that degree. I mean, you can go and sell parts to tractors, or you can go and sell parts to seed or stuff like that. But like, I mean, or you could just be a farmer and just, I mean, you could sell your crops. But I mean, without some of the farmers here, we wouldn't be able to eat. We wouldn't be able to survive. And that's a necessity. And I'd like to know that I'm helping the world and helping people every day. So I mean, agriculture is everything down here.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't understand that every time they go into a grocery store, it's because a farmer raised, like if they get meat or, any sort of vegetation is because a farmer had to, raise that or grow it and then, you know, farm it and then ship it out before it even gets to the grocery store. We just kind of walk into grocery stores and they take all that stuff for granted. So I definitely think that's a very good route and it's very important, but also it's very overlooked. So I think it's a very I think it's a good thing that we have young men like you that are already interested in that. I actually went to school with a guy who didn't necessarily do agribusiness. His family owned a hay farm down. Where was it? I forget where he was. He was in South Georgia as well, but they had a huge hay farm and a business surrounding that down in South Georgia. And after school, he kind of went down there to take over and start to help run the business down there too. So people don't understand how agriculture is can sustain a family and can be very lucrative as well. So very definitely some good stuff. Let's switch back over to Hunter really quick because you were like you're into broadcasting, sports broadcasting, stuff like that. Also, before we get into Hunter's questions, if you have any questions for these guys or just questions in general, Kenya is back in Georgia and she will be flagging those questions and we will get to them in just a little while. But yeah, let's go back to Hunter. So when you say sports broadcasting, are you talking about like Sports Center type stuff, or are we talking about sideline reporting? Like, kind of what's your vision for that?
The more vision is like Sports Center, like you said. Kind of want to be over the mic, kind of how it is right now. Kind of explaining the game as it goes along, as it evolves. Being up in the booth. I don't know, being surrounded around some guys that know what they're talking about, love the same thing that I feel like I would love. I don't know. I feel like I would be in a good atmosphere, set myself up for improvement, and I just feel like that would be a great thing for me, and I kind of just want to stay in the sports industry if baseball doesn't continue to work out. I feel like if I'm in the sports industry, it'll kind of ease a little bit of the pain on my heart, knowing that I'll still be around the ball one way or another. And if that means that it's explaining the game, telling people more about the game, um, just kind of just kind of explaining what's really going on. It would make me feel wholehearted. I feel like I'd really love that.
No, I definitely agree, because I think the same sentiment that you're getting at is something that I felt too after I stopped playing. I was like, man, like I'm gonna miss baseball, but how can I still be a part of baseball? And I was like, oh, I can coach. I had coached my brother growing up. He's 4.5 years younger than me, and so it's something that had always came natural to me because I had always helped him and some of his little buddies that came over with whatever I could help them with as far as baseball and stuff like that goes. And so I was like, yeah, let me see if I can get back into coaching. And then I saw Coach Trent at a wedding, and he was like, yeah, I'm doing this whole Coastal Stars thing. And I was in kind of my last semester of college, and I was like, yeah, like get some money while I'm, back at home finishing up school. And I just, fell in love with, the program. I've always, known the Jones family. They've always been great. And I mean, it's just been fun. And now I'm on, year 4 and loving every minute of getting to do stuff like this with you guys, but also being able to, of course, coach you in the game of baseball. So I definitely like that. All right, so we're going to take a short little break here. But right after we come back, we're going to get into the Savage mentality. We're going to answer any questions or address any comments that you guys have as well. So we'll be right back after this break.
About that knee drop.
We're going to work through this track meet in Birmingham, get ready for the Nationals, and hope to put in a good performance.
Just making sure she pushes out of both legs, out of the blocks, and not just relying on one leg. Wow. Let's go do it.
They should connect.
All right, what's up, people? We're going to get into the Savage mentality. Before we get into that, I need y'all to like for the algorithm. I got Jackson. I got Hunter. We're having a good time tonight. Let's get into some of your comments before we get into the Savage mentality. So we got a $2 super chat from Kenya McIntosh. She says, "What does the next level look like to y'all?" So kind of touched on it, but let's start with Jackson on this one. What does the next level look like that, or for either baseball or in life in general?
Coastal one. Just when I think of the next level, I think of college and just big parts of life that anybody's going to go through. But the next level, I mean, it could really look like anything. It could be a small JUCO school, or it could be a D1 or a big D2 or whatever. I mean, to me, it just means competing with bigger guys and more talent.
Awesome. What about you, Hunter?
Yeah, kind of adding on to what Jackson said. Um, Playing at the next level is one of my absolute main dreams since I was a kid. Put my hard earned time, blood, sweat, and tears all in this game. Broken so many bones playing this game. Like it's there's truly a love and hatred for this game, and it really has a contributing factor on self improvement and just getting to the next level, putting in the hard work, showing that I deserve to be not just only me, but all the people around me and all the people that really work for it. It shows that they deserve to be like at the next level, and it doesn't matter like what touching on Jack said. It doesn't matter where you go. If you're given the chance to go and play ball somewhere to showcase your skills and showcase your talent, if you go and you play ball how ball is supposed to be played, the coaches will find you. Everything will find you if you just go and put your time and effort into it. And just playing at the next level, it's really about the main thing is the competition, getting around older guys who are a lot better than you, been in your position, and they've worked for it as well. And they're just a little bit older than you. They're putting on everything they have, and you're putting on everything you have against each other, and just working to be not only a better baseball player, but working to be a better person in general on how your life turns out after collegiate baseball. If it's going to the pros or hanging up the cleats after that, it's just it's a main contributing factor on how your life really wants to set after you finish. And it's really just a big thing, a really a huge topic, and it's one of the main top priorities that I have set on my list.
I like that. I like that. Do we have any more comments? Coach Ket in the house. Just a couple guys from my lineup of studs. I like that. I like that. Coach
Coach
Ket making his
Ked.
appearance. So okay. Any more? Joni Adams says, "Could not be more proud of my Hunter. On and off the field, we love you, Joni, Will, and Reed." I like that. That's sweet. "You're doing a good job, Hunter. Thanks for teaching me your brother Reed." That's awesome. So let's
Yeah,
talk
little
about
man
that for a
smoking
second. Because
baseball.
so how old is your younger brother Reed?
He's 9.
He's 9. Oh, okay, that's awesome. So talk about that, because like I mentioned earlier, I have a younger brother, 4.5 years younger, and I basically taught him the game of baseball. We didn't have parents that played baseball, so I was kind of the first one in my family to play it, but really actually, play it at a serious level and try to be the best I could at it. So talk about what it's like to, train and kind of raise your younger brother playing baseball.
There's a lot that goes into it. Come from a family where it's not really a huge factor of playing sports and whatnot. I mean, they played back in high school, and the audacity to play ball has always been there, and it's really been a huge thing for him to be a contributor, to come and just watch me play and grow up, and he did that a bunch of the years, and he like the times that he wasn't able to play, he was always at my games. He was always there. He's always supporting, and it's really just amazing to be able to turn it back around and show the love back to him when he deserves it. He's a really good kid. He's actually if I'm not wrong, he's ambidextrous, kind of like Coach Ked at 9 years old.
Oh,
So
there
we're
we
trying to
go.
keep him.
Nice.
Yeah, we're trying to keep him to keep throwing righty and lefty, and I don't know. He loves the game. He loves being out in the environment, and that's really a great thing to me, knowing that I'm one of the people that he looks up to um, after it all, and it's really just a heartwarming thing that knowing that he looks up to me and knowing that I'm a leader in his world, and he just wants to learn from how I go about things and how I play my style of baseball, and it's really touching.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, it's also like it's heartwarming, but it's also helps you and pushes you to be the best that you can be. I know, like for my brother, I knew he was always watching, so I was like, man, I gotta be this great example for him. I want to perform my best so that I can show him that he could be just as good as me or greater than me. And so um, it's a heartwarming thing, but it's also a great responsibility as well. Jackson, do you have any siblings, younger or older? Older?
Yes, sir. I have a younger brother. He
Okay, so
just
you
turned
can kind of
11.
there you go. So you can kind of touch on this too. So how is it, playing baseball? Does your younger brother play baseball as well?
Oh yes, sir. He loves any sport. I mean, he plays baseball, he plays soccer, he plays football, he plays basketball. But I mean, I've never really played any other sports. But growing up, he's always been drugged to the ball field, and I mean, he kind of just fell into it, And
Mhm.
when he was like, hey, well, let's go throw, and when he was like, hey, let's go hit, and you just gotta, I mean, because I was like that one day too. I mean, you just gotta really soak it all in and help him to the best ability, and have fun with it. And I mean, he's gonna be. I mean, we were at his age once, and we all just want to have fun and learn the sport. So I mean, just and like Connor said, I mean, he looks up to me, and you just gotta try to set a good role model, I guess, for him.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, do we have any more comments before we get into savage mentality? All right. So, um, I guess that's enough. All right. So let's get into the savage mentality. How you have to be a dog. Coach Ked was talking about. Y'all are just two people in a lineup full of dogs. So talk about what it means to be a dog and how that mentality, like how you have to have that mentality to be successful at the game of baseball.
I mean, playing against other guys your age, once you step on the field, you're going head to head against them. It's not, and I mean, in my head, I step in the box with a Mercer commit or a Oklahoma commit or whatever. I mean, I'm still thinking in my head, you're not going to beat me. Like, you don't know how much work
Mm,
I've put in, and you don't know what I've done to get here, so you're not going to beat me. And even if you do, I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna come back next time fighting even harder. But you just gotta believe in the work you've put in, and it's a big thing for me because um, some people just get it naturally, and some people have to work for it. And for me, I had to work for it a little bit, and I just your mentality says a lot about you. I mean, you can go about it many different ways, but I mean, I'm competitive. I have a little bit of fiery side about me, and um, which gets me in trouble a little bit on the baseball field, But you just gotta compete, and I mean, if you don't love to compete, then it's not sport for you because every time you step on that diamond, you're gonna have to compete.
absolutely, absolutely. And I like how you said that, some people, they naturally have a inkling to play certain sports, but some people have to work for it. And there's a popular saying is hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And so it goes to show you that these people that are talented sometimes they're not they're just getting by with their talent, But if you're always working hard and you have talent as well, then you're going to surpass them and you're going to maximize who you can be in any sport or in anything that you do in life. So, all right, what about you, Hunter? Allude or talk about the savage mentality, how you have to have it in order to be successful in the game of baseball.
Just knowing that you're going out there, you don't know who you're going against half the time. These dudes could all be D1 commits. They could all be I mean, they could all be a lot better than you, truth be told. And you go out there, you got to have the mindset that kind of what Jack said, that you're not going to beat me. You don't know what I've had to put into this. You don't know the time and the effort and all the hours that have been put into the hard work that goes into this. And like you just have to go out there, and it's just a thing of if you can go out there, and baseball is a game of failure. If you can go out there and you can fail and pick yourself back up and succeed after you have just failed or faced adversity, that's having a dog mentality. If you go out there and you just down on yourself 24/7 after you mess up or make a mistake or do something wrong, that you just can't continue on to do that. That you won't play at the next level. You have to pick your head up, put your shoes back on, lace them back up, go back out there and say it's whatever. Let's clear it, and we'll get the next one. It's all about a mental game. Baseball's truly a mental game, and if you don't have the right mental mindset when you step out there or step in that box or anything, then you're just not fit for it, and you have to mentally prepare like way before and continue on to tell yourself that hey, it's going to be okay. Hey, mess ups happen, mistakes happen, things don't go your way for a reason, and you can't control that. But yeah, it's going out there and competing. You got to have that 110% all the time. You got to want the baseball. You got to know what's happening all the time. And kind of like what Jack said, me and him are on the same page. We both got a little bit of fire behind us. So when we catch that, it gets us in. When we catch that, it gets us in trouble a little bit of the time. But that's what really sparks us up, bringing that energy to the baseball field, knowing that we're lighting all of our other teammates up, knowing that we have their backs, knowing that they have ours, and all just being around a great group of guys. And there's not really much to be said about it. That you have to be mentally fit to control what goes on the baseball field.
Absolutely, man. And there's in baseball, you hit it on the head when you said it's a mental game. And there's kind of this fine line of really going after it and, really pushing the limits. And then also at the same time having to control your emotions, right? Because you don't want to get too hyped. You don't want to be too down as well. You want this like sharp focus that allows you to, be a dog, be a savage, and be in the moment and take advantage of this moment. But at the same time, if things don't go your way, or if things do go your way, you're not overly emotional about it. I'm not saying you can't be pumped, not saying that you can't get upset if something doesn't go your way, but just controlling that and getting right back into, okay, what do I got to do next so I can be great in this moment is really what the game of baseball is all about. Because 1 minute you can hit a home run in one at bat, and then the next 3 at bats, if you're not focused, if you're not in the moment, you could K up and look just silly, right? And or the reverse could be true. You could K up and look silly, and then next couple at bats you're sharp, you're focused, and you go 3 for 3 with a couple doubles off the wall. And so really having the savage mentality comes back to being in the moment and seizing each moment for what it is and not getting too low and too high. So definitely agree. I think we got a couple of good comments queued up for us. So let's go to those right now.
Coach Cad.
I try to bring out that dog mentality in my guys. I like that. Yeah, talk about Coach Cad.
Yeah.
He was on the podcast. He was on the podcast last week. just talking about, his journey as well. But how is it being coached by Coach Ked?
It's great, man.
You want
I
to go
mean,
first, Jack?
and he's kind of he's younger, so I mean, he kind of relates to us a little bit, and it helps with him still like being involved in the sport. I mean, and he's still in it as the game. Um, I mean, he's still in it as the game progresses. So I mean, he's a dog too, so you can't really. I mean, what do you expect? He's gonna if you're playing for him, you're gonna get it true. But I love Coach Kid as a coach, and he's coaching all of us well.
Yeah, kind of touching what Jack said. Coach Cat, he's a younger coach, and that's one of the main things that I love about the Coastal Association. All of the coaches kind of connect on us more of a level than some of the older guys in the coaching world would. Coach Cad's still in the game of baseball as of right now, and he like Jack just said. Coach Cad's a dog. He's an ambidextrous pitcher. I see Coach Cad going real far, and it's just like what Jack said. Coach Cad's gonna be straight up and completely honest with you and tell you straight up on a straight line how it is and how it should have been if it's wrong. And if you are doing right, he's gonna give you that compliment or that confidence and say, "Hey man, good job. Like keep up the good work." But he's also a great coach just for the silly times that we give him. We give him a lot of trouble having him out on the field, but we love him to death. He's such a good coach, and he's really one of the better coaches. Couldn't ask for a better one.
Absolutely, absolutely. And something that's very underrated as well with the Savage mentality and building Savage mentality for a player or a team, what have you, is a role model or a mentor or a coach that is there helping you to stay savage, essentially, right? And I think Coach Ked does a really good job of that. Like you said, he's straight up with you. He's not going to sugarcoat anything. If you're doing something wrong, he's going to address it. But also on the opposite end of that token, if you're doing something right, he's going to praise you and give you your flowers as well, which is super important because sometimes you have coaches that only dog you, never really give you your flowers, or they're too soft and they only lift you up and boost you up, even though they could be addressing some issues that can make you better. So you have to have that balance, which kind of goes back to what I was alluding to earlier, is got to have that balance of being in the moment, but also understanding, hey, like this is the things that I can work on moving forward so that I can be better moment to moment as well. So I like it. That's our Savage mentality. We're about to get into our Ask Coach Profit segment where they can ask me, anything they want. You guys in the chat can ask me anything that you guys want, or if you still have more questions for Hunter or Jack, feel free to put those in the comments and we will get into them. So let's get into our Ask Coach Profit segment now. All right, guys. So y'all have any questions for me? Go ahead. Let's start with Hunter first.
Yeah, so one of my main questions, one of the main things that kind of sits on my head as I see you around the association a lot is how was your recruiting process coming out of high school? How was it? How was your journey? How did you get where you are today?
Yeah, so honestly, in high school, I didn't know much about the recruiting process, and there wasn't a lot of information, as much information as there is today. And so, if I could go back, I would do it completely different. And social media wasn't as big of a part of it as it is today either. So, if I was getting recruited today, as opposed to back then, I'd probably do things even more differently than if I could go back to my time and do it. But with that being said, so my process was kind of different. I could have been a lot more proactive in, building relationships with coaches. I mean, I was always good in person. So like if I went to a camp or if I just saw a coach, he came to my game and whatnot, but I wasn't necessarily good at, foster a relationship. Like if I through email or through text, if I got a coach's number, I could have been a lot better at that. And I didn't have resources or people like y'all at the Coastal Stars, and we kind of put together a package for you. And that's because when we were coming up, if we knew what was in that package, we probably could have maybe played at, bigger universities or had better opportunities. Not to say that the opportunities that we had weren't good. I think I ended up at one of the best situations that I could have ever ended up at and had one of the greatest experiences ever. But I would have been, really proactive along with going to, more camps. I would have tried to build more of those relationships and show my personality to some of these coaches because, I mean, I think I have a, good personality. And when I was in front of these coaches, I think I made a good impression, but it wasn't able to stick because it wasn't more than, oh, just that kid at the camp. He could run a little bit, and I had the factor that I was a smaller guy. And so when I probably had, D1 talent, but I didn't have D1, characteristics, essentially. I wasn't tall. I wasn't as big, right? I didn't necessarily hit for as much power as, some programs would have liked. And so I had that to overcome. So I should have made up with that and, how I fostered building these relationships and reaching out to these coaches in different ways. And if I was getting recruited now, I would definitely 100% be just building my social media presence, as along with sending stuff out to coaches, and not trying to be an influencer, so to speak, but just putting my personality out so that coaches can see like who I am, my character, and so that they can kind of understand like, oh, this is a person that would fit into my culture. And this is something that we hit on in our last podcast is just because a school is maybe a dream school of yours or it's, a big name school doesn't mean it's a good fit for you, right? Because, culturally, their values may not align, perfectly with your values or what have you. Or like even the city that it's in may not be similar to, how Jackson was raised. You're raised more around the farm area, and it could be like these big cities with all these city kids, maybe not a good, like meshing of cultures for you where you can thrive at your best. And so you got to take all of that into consideration too. It's not like, oh, I'm going to this school and it's big, right? It's all right, what's going to be the greatest place for me to thrive? Like Hunter, you said earlier, it's not necessarily about, did I go D1? It's like, hey, did I get an opportunity and can I thrive here at this place? That's like the biggest thing. And I think I actually ended up in a situation where I was able to thrive and I was able to kind of find who I was in college. I was able to find what I was interested in and build relationships that propelled me into my professional career after baseball. So that's like the biggest thing. But yeah, my recruiting process was kind of a mess to sum it all up, but it just worked out. So I thank God that everything worked out in that way, but that I'm also able to give you advice on, what to do and kind of what not to do as well. So very good question. All right. Do you have any more questions, Jackson?
I don't think so. I mean, Hunter asked a really good question right there. If you could go back and change, I actually do have one question. If you could go back and change one way of how you played, like, I mean, would you change anything of how you played or how you carried yourself, or any tips on how you, have confidence in the game?
Yeah, so like definitely when I stepped onto campus my freshman year, I kind of went in and I was kind of like this underdog. Like they didn't necessarily know too much about me, and I kind of had a chip on my shoulder, and I was very impressive. And then I had a good freshman year, and then after that, I kind of got timid and trying to like, can I repeat this? And kind of started second guessing myself. I didn't have that savage mentality that we just kind of talked about having, and so I would have definitely went back and told myself, hey, like if you want to be great or if you want to be better than you were last year, then you got to go out there and you literally just got to go be better. You got to have that mentality that you are better, that you are improving, and trust the work that you've been putting in. Because I would always hit and I would always put in work, but sometimes when it got to game time or I knew like my coach was watching and this was like a big at bat and inter squad that determined whether I was going to start or not, I would just kind of just be in my own head rather than in the moment. And so it took me my sophomore and even part of my junior year before I really broke out of it. And so then my senior year I came back, had a really good season, was a very big part of that championship team that we had my senior year. But if I would have just, had that similar mentality as I came in with, right, then I would have probably had a much more successful career over the span of 4 years rather than it being, mainly confined to those two. Not to say that I didn't have good moments in my sophomore and junior year. It just I wasn't consistent in my approach to the game or really in life in general, right? Took some soul searching. And, in college, it's a different beast too because you're away from your family. And so you got to get into like, okay, how do I live life? Without my mom maybe doing this for me or cooking for me? How do I manage my time effectively? Because I don't have, my mom or my dad telling me, hey, is your homework done? Is this in order? Is that in order? You're really responsible for yourself. And so during those years, I had to, sort out some things about, okay, I got to take some personal responsibility, have to, manage my priorities properly. And then once I got that in order, then I was able to thrive and I was able to, just go out and play the game of baseball the way I knew how, rather than worrying about, all these external things. And so that would be my biggest advice to you is when you get to college, understand your priorities and also don't be afraid to, reach out to me, reach out to Coach Justin, reach out to Coach Ked, reach out to other people on your team. If you are going through a phase where you're like, oh man, I'm kind of going through a rough time, right? Address it head on, right? Because that's something that I didn't do. I didn't address it. I kind of just went down into like this little hole and, that kind of hurt me. Whereas it took like almost 2 years to come out of it, where maybe it only needed to take, a month or two and I could have been right back to the same player that I was. But, you live and you learn. And that's why I get to have, conversations with you guys. So that was a very good question. All right. Any other questions before we wrap up here that y'all just want to know?
No, sir. I think I'm good.
Yes, sir. Me too.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate you guys for coming on to the platform. Love having you guys. We'll have 2 more of you guys next week. I'll be back home next week, so we'll get all the technical difficulties ironed out and everything. But again, thank you guys for coming on. Hunter Holder, Jackson Sayer. If you're a part of the Coastal Stars organization, you can catch them on the upper class white team in action this weekend. I think they're going to put up some good numbers because it's tournament number 2. We worked out the kinks in tournament number 1. So
yeah, we're coming
hopefully
hot.
Yeah, I like it. Hopefully both our teams can, sneak into that bracket play, maybe y'all get the face off against Coach Profit here coming up. So I'm really looking forward to that because my team played well. We just didn't play well enough. So hopefully we can get back. But again, thank you guys for coming on. We'll be back next week probably when I get back in town with another episode of Profitable Conversations, Coach Profit, back to a quality pod, all the shows that we have for you. So until then, make sure y'all are blessed and we'll see y'all next week.